Hey there guys, it's Ben here once again from GameReview.com. We're back with another News of the Week roundup, and this weekend of course we had Blizzcon 2019, so this episode is purely going to be about that event. So without further ado, let's get on with the stories of the weekend. First off, Blizzard gave an apology regarding their recent controversy surrounding the banning of a Hearthstone player and 2 casters during a recent event. Before the opening ceremony took place, company president J. Allen Brack stated, "We moved too quickly in our decision making, and then to make matters worse, we were too slow to talk to all of you. When I think about what I'm most unhappy about, it's mostly 2 things. First, we didn't live up to the high standards we set for ourselves. The second is that we failed in our purpose. For that, I'm sorry and I accept accountability." Later on, Brack said, "As you walk around this weekend, I hope it's clear how committed we are to everyone's right to express themselves in all kinds of ways and all kinds of places." The apology was pretty vague, and despite the apparent remorse, Blizzard did not make any changes to its decision regarding the plans of Blitzchung and the 2 Hearthstone casters that were present during the incident. There were some protests at the event, which was to be expected, and there was a slightly awkward incident when an adult fan and then a child said "Free Hong Kong" on the microphone during the Shadowlands Q&A panel. The apology itself was pretty lackluster and seemed to be suggesting that the issue wasn't necessarily the stance they took, but how quickly they made their decision and their subsequent lack of communication to the community. If Blizzard really had changed their position, it would have come with an update to those who were banned during the incident that sparked the controversy to begin with. First announcement to cover is World of Warcraft Shadowlands, which is the next instalment for the retail version of the MMO that will be arriving sometime in 2020. The premise of this expansion is that Sylvanas has destroyed the Helm of Domination and has shattered the barrier between the living world and the Shadowlands, which is essentially the world's afterlife. This is causing all sorts of problems, and so you must journey here to try and keep everything in order. The Shadowlands will contain several new zones, including levelling zones, an endgame area and a central player hub. An interesting piece of news here is that Shadowlands will push the level cap back down to 60. From level 10, a player can choose which expansion they want to level through up until level 50, and the Shadowlands will then encompass a character's journey from level 50 to 60. This was designed to create a more streamlined levelling experience that does not involve having to hop between different expansions and different story points, which is an understandable move considering how many different story arcs a player would be rushing through on their journey towards max level. Once you hit max level, you will be able to choose a covenant. These covenants will provide players with new narrative campaigns as well as covenant-specific loot and 2 unique abilities, one of which is tied to your class. There are also new player customization options, some of which are linked to your choice of covenant. So a pretty big overhaul on this expansion. I think there's some good ideas here, especially with the streamlining on the levelling, which would otherwise be a bit of a mess. It would be interesting to see the comparisons in levelling 1 to 60 in retail WoW and 1 to 60 in classic WoW, as the 1 to 60 levelling system was something a lot of classic WoW players missed, so this could provide the experience that they wanted but with more modern mechanics. If the execution's up to scratch, this could be a real hit for Blizzard. Next up, we had confirmation of the Diablo 4 rumours when Blizzard officially unveiled the title at the event, and we got a few details as well. The game will have no offline mode, and the open world will feature interaction with other players, essentially giving it an MMO vibe. However, solo players will be pleased to hear that the team have clarified that nothing in Diablo 4 is going to require partying up. Dungeons are private affairs and can be done either solo or with friends. Diablo 4 will reportedly be going back to its darker roots, giving players a more mature experience than with their other IPs. Details are currently slim and the game is a long way from launch, Blizzard even stating, "We are not coming out soon, not even Blizzard soon," which is nice poking their fun at themselves there. Not really a lot to judge on this one, although I am a bit worried about the always online component and that it might bring a similar set of problems that Diablo 3 had on launch, and a lot of people still remember the infamous Error 37. Overwatch 2 was announced at the event. The main focus of the follow-up title are its PvP elements, including a full story experience. Players can play in the co-op missions set around the world and will be able to level up their characters to unlock new abilities and customization options. On the PvP front, there will be a few new maps available, including Toronto, cue applause from the audience, and a new game mode called Push, which involves both teams trying to push an objective to the enemy team's base. The piece of good news for fans of the original game is that with all of the new multiplayer maps and game modes, they will be available to original Overwatch players, and players of both games can even fight together in the same matches online. If you do pick up Overwatch 2, your cosmetic items and achievements will transfer from the original. So on the actual multiplayer front, there's very little new here, but it is a nice touch that you don't have to buy a whole new game, just for a few maps and the multiplayer mode if you're not interested in the PvE content. Capping off with some news about Hearthstone, which is of course the game most directly linked to Blizzard's recent controversy. The card game is getting another expansion titled Descent of Dragons, which as per previous expansions will bring a new set of cards and a few new mechanics to play with, which will shift the competitive meta. We also have the announcement of Hearthstone Battlegrounds, which is an auto battler with a similar playstyle to something like Teamfight Tactics or Dota Auto Chess, and will feature a number of faces from the Warcraft lore. So that is a recap of the major stories from BlizzCon 2019. I would say overall, things could have gone a lot worse for Blizzard. There's always going to be a bit of controversy and a few protesters hanging around given the recent incidents that took place. However, I think overall it could have gone a hell of a lot worse for Blizzard, and the feedback to most of what happened was generally positive. So thank you very much indeed guys for watching. Please like that video, subscribe to the channel and check out the content on the main website, and I will see you next week.